Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Assembly Committee on Privacy and Consumer Protection of April the 5th, 2016. Today we have a number of bills on the agenda. Let's start with Mr. Stone. Would you like? No, we're starting with as a subcommittee, correct. Thank you. Anytime you're ready, Mr. Stone.
Thank you. Data in the aggregate about the kids, and especially vulnerable kids in the school system, foster kids, children at risk, and others. And the reason that I brought this forward, I would actually love to be doing more, but this is an area that is a little confusing and a little bit difficult. Now, the data trust is going to have to follow all state and federal laws with respect to privacy, because we cannot and will not do anything that makes kids vulnerable or their data vulnerable. But what I'm hoping, and by us supporting this data trust as they're working through these issues, that we'll be able to get a much better picture of what the impediments are to actually sharing data in ways that benefit the children about whom the data actually is, and how we protect, safeguard, manage that data and information in a much more productive way. So I'm asking that we move this ACR 120 as a vehicle to support and connect with the data trust, and that we as a body learn what state impediments there are, federal impediments there are to using this data in the aggregate, and making sure that we're able to get the right information at the right time for the benefit of the children who need us to be working in their best interest. So that's what this is. That's why it's an ACR at this point. But I will be working with the data trust and watching them very, very closely. And I think it's something that we in the legislature should also be watching them as they figure out how to, again, manage and get data and information to the right place at the right time, so that we know more about how we can affect the outcomes for these children who are at risk within our system.
Thank you very much. Any witnesses in support of the bill? Please step forward. Opposition? Question, comments from committee members? Yes, Mr. Wilk.
From the appropriate county boards of education and UC Santa Cruz, and they're right now working on the protocols to be able to aggregate and manage the data that they're doing. We have huge data gaps in our systems. The health system, human services system, educational system don't talk to each other. And when they're dealing with the same kids, then we're not putting the right information to the right decision makers at the right time with respect to that child and what's best for them. So this is a data trust that is working on setting up those protocols, and I think we have a lot to learn from them. It's been worked on in smaller scales in other places. This will be fairly large given the counties that are involved, a lot of data, and I think we have a lot to learn from them.
I understand this is a nonprofit organization, and I also understand that the project hasn't started yet. How long do you anticipate the pilot project is going to last, and when the start date is going to be, if you have any ideas whatsoever?
Well, I know they're going to try to be ramping up this year, and I'm hoping that this data project actually goes on for a number of years, and that we learn from the data, but we also learn from the structure that they create and the processes and procedures that they put into place. So I would like to be hopefully drawing down data from them over the next couple of years, using that to understand where we need to be making changes in policy. But I think I'm hoping that it will be an ongoing relationship between these organizations that is constantly, and once they figure out, once we all collectively figure out how to take down some of the hurdles for data and information exchange. This is a program that Boeing will continue for a while, because they are going to be aggregating data that researchers that can use to understand the effectiveness of various programs that are put in place serving these at-risk populations.
Are there any further questions or comments? Since we cannot do a motion yet, so we'll wait for a quorum for the motion to be made later. With that, would you like to close, or did you want to?
I thank you for your consideration and ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, looks like we are waiting for other authors. I think at this time, I'd like to present my bills if possible. I'd like to give the gavel over to my vice chair.
Now chair.
All right, now chair. There you go.
Yeah, I'd like to establish a quorum at this time.
Chow.
Yep.
Chow here. Wilk.
Present.
Wilk here. Baker. Calderon. Here. Calderon here. Chang. Cooper. Cooper here. Dababne. Gatto. Gatto here. Gordon. Gordon here. Lowe. Lowe here. Olson.
We don't need Garrett.
No, that's fine.
We have a quorum.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move item number 9, ACR 120.
Do I have a second? We have a second by Mr. Lowe. Okay, let's move that to a vote then.
Absolutely.
The motion is be adopted. Chow.
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk.
Not voting.
Wilk not voting. Baker. Calderon. Aye. Calderon, aye. Chang. Cooper. Aye. Cooper, aye. Dababne. Gatto. Aye. Gatto, aye. Gordon. Aye. Gordon, aye. Lowe. Aye. Lowe, aye. Olson.
Bill is out. Great. And we will leave it on call. Up next is item 4AB 2307 by Chairman Shao. Oh, this one, I'm sorry, AB 1662 by our chairman, and it has a due pass recommendation to transportation.
Thank you very much.
You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This afternoon, I have the opportunity to present AB 1662 for your consideration. AB 1662 protects people from hit-and-run drone accidents by requiring drone operators to stay at the scene of an accident and provide their name, address, and also a valid identification to the victim as well as to the police. Drones are becoming more prevalent in our society, and they are used for a wide range of purposes, from recreation to agriculture to viewing traffic congestion or storms. The Federal Aviation Administration estimates that about 1 million drones were sold just during the past holiday season alone. With the increasing usage of drones, we are seeing more drone accidents. For example, a drone crashed into a power line near Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, which knocked out power line to about 600 homes. Also in September of 2015, an 11-month-old baby was injured in Pasadena when she was struck on the head by fragments from a hobbyist drone that crashed near her home. In fact, near her stroller, near home. In the Pasadena case, the 24-year-old drone hobbyist stopped to help, but nothing in the law required that action to be taken. Currently, under California law, motor vehicle drivers are required to stop and provide identification and contact information if they are involved in a vehicle accident that causes injury or property damage. Any driver who flees the scene of an accident may be charged with a misdemeanor if the accident involves property damage, or felony if that accident involves personal injury. As cars are capable of personal injury, the hit-and-run law should also apply to drones. And AB 1662 addresses this particular issue by requiring drone operators to remain at the scene of the accident and provide their name, contact information, and identification to the victim. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to my witness.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Richard Harris on behalf of the San Diego International Airport. We think it's a common sense measure in a complicated issue, and this will help us, I think, determine if there's any sort of actions the airport needs to take if, some of these things go down next to what we're doing. So appreciate you bringing this forward. I'm in full support.
Thank you.
Anybody else in support?
Mr. Chair, members, Will Gonzalez on behalf of DJI. We're the world's largest manufacturer of personal and commercial drones. In support of the bill, we appreciate the author's attempt to, I think, really ensure user responsibility, which we're very supportive of, and we hope ask for an aye vote.
Anybody in opposition? Any tweeners? Seeing none, we'll go to questions and comments from the committee. You guys are much livelier than this normally. What's going on? I don't care. I like it. So I got a couple questions.
Sure.
Question number one, because you compare it to a drone to driving a car.
Right.
If you're driving in a car, you're in the car. Whereas a drone, I'm not sure how far away they can be. I suppose you could potentially do damage and not even know that that's transpired. So just curious how that would work.
Well, obviously, if the drone causes an injury or some kind of hits the ground or something like that, obviously that operator is obligated to basically try to find that drone and find the scene of the accident. So under that scenario, then the operator has that opportunity and also responsibility to look for that drone, and also if and when he does, he has to remain at the scene of the accident. So that's the scenario that I'm anticipating to happen. Obviously, if he can find the drone, he's supposed to call the police. So that's how the proposal is supposed to work.
Follow-up question: Do you know what federal law is on this? Because I know we have the whole federal preemption. So I was just curious if the feds have weighed in yet.
Right. Under the federal law, a person whose drone has caused an accident that exceeds like $25,000 is obligated to report to the federal government. Now, there's no time limit on that, and also if it does not exceed $25,000, he has no obligation to do so.
Okay, great. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, Mr. Chair, you can close.
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Let's vote.
The motion is due pass to Transportation Committee. Chow?
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Baker? Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. Chang? Aye. Chang, aye. Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye. DeBobne? Gatto? Gatto, aye. Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Lowe? Aye. Lowe, aye. Olson?
I understand that Mr. Holden is here, so...
And Ms. Irwin. So if you'd like to come
and
retake the gavel, I challenge you to come do that.
All right. I will take on that challenge.
And congratulations, your bill's out.
Okay, Mr. Holden, you're next, and I believe you have two bills, one of which is on consent. In fact, why we have a quorum, can we would like to entertain a motion to... the consent item has been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chow?
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Baker? Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. Chang? Aye. Chang, aye. Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye. DeBobne? Gatto? Gatto, aye. Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Lowe? Aye. Lowe, aye. Olson?
AB 2068 is out. Mr. Holden, you have AB 2148.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Pleasure to be here with you and with the members of the committee. I'm pleased to present Assembly Bill 2148 to provide for a standardized set of rules and regulations for the use of drones within the state-controlled airspace above lands operated by the Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Department of Parks and Recreation. AB 2148 seeks to balance the legitimate right of drone owners to fly their drones on state land with the state's obligation to preserve our native species and habitats. For example, every year 6 to 8 million migratory birds pass through Central Valley Wildlife Preserve annually, and if a drone were to fly through a preserve at the wrong time of year, obvious harm would result. Furthermore, a growing body of research suggests drones may impact wildlife in ways unnoticeable to a layperson. A recent study suggests that although bears show no outward signs of distress around drones, stress indicators like blood pressure and heart rate increase dramatically in the presence of drones. AB 2148 therefore provides regulatory authority to wildlife and habitat experts to come up with a consistent set of rules to protect wildlife while not shutting down the state's open space to drone use. This simple measure protects wildlife and drone users, has no known opposition, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Your witnesses, please.
Mr. Chair and members, Mark Smith on behalf of Audubon, California, sponsors of the bill. Pleased to be here and support today. We believe this is an issue that's timely. The incidents that we are hearing about statewide are becoming more and more prevalent. Mostly for the large part they're unintentional, but there are consequences to flying recreational drones at certain times of the year in certain places of the state with impacts to wildlife and habitat. We ask for your support of this bill.
Bill has been moved and seconded. Anyone else in favor of the bill, please step forward. Seeing none, anyone in opposition to the bill? Seeing and hearing none, let's bring it back to the committee. Questions, comments from committee members? Mr. Will, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So two questions of the author. One, in just like the prior bill, federal preemption. I mean, my understanding is FAA has control of this. So what's your answer to that? And then two, is this really enforceable? I mean, are park rangers going to enforce it? How are we going to do it?
Thank you, Assemblymember. First of all, it happens to fall below 400 feet, and it's 5 miles from an airport or a federal airspace, and so therefore it's an area that's not currently controlled, certainly by the federal government. So it's an area that state regulation can come up with standards without being overridden by the federal government. Second, we are trying to give direction or regulation opportunities for standards to be set by Department of Fish and Wildlife. We didn't want to overreach by trying to let the department know by our thinking how it should be structured, but by giving them the authority to come up with some rules within a specified period of time that will allow us to have, or allow them to have the right type of regulatory authority that they can enforce. And so those are the responses to your two questions.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I do have a couple of follow-up questions as pointed out in the analysis. I understand that the bill calls for guidelines to be adopted as opposed to regulation. Would you think that regulations would be preferred to guidelines? Or?
And maybe what I should have, I probably misspoke. I should have said guidelines, because I think what we're really trying to do is to give the Department of Fish and Game some way of regulating or controlling the use of drones. I know that there may be a need of recognizing that sometime during the course of the year there may be a greater influx of activity, as I described in my opening statement, around migration of birds from north to south, and recognizing when that pattern happens and to being able to set standards, not to say that a permit would not be issued, but to know when the right time would be to issue such a permit. And so we're at this point looking for some guidelines to be able to give to the department so that they can operate more efficiently.
Thank you very much. The recommendation is do pass to the next committee. And would you like to close?
Okay. Can you give me just a second?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Let me close by saying that we are thankful that the committee has had an opportunity to review this proposal. We think it's a smart preventative effort, and we look forward to your aye vote.
Thank you very much. And Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to Water Parks and Wildlife Committee. Chow.
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk.
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Baker. Calderon.
Aye.
Calderon, aye. Chang. Chang, aye. Cooper. Cooper, aye. DeBobne. Gatto. Gatto, aye. Gordon. Gordon, aye. Lowe. Lowe, aye. Olson. Olson not voting.
Your bill is out. Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Irwin is here to present on 1842, item number 2. Welcome. 1841, sorry.
Thank you, Chair and members. AB 1841 will establish clear authority and a 6-month time frame for cybersecurity incident response planning within state government. The bill will also require state agencies to report on standards set by the Office of Emergency Services so that state government maintains preparedness. Ensuring that these preparations will be made will reduce the potential consequences from future cybersecurity incidences. California is a priority target for cyber attacks because of the size of our economy and the value of our networks and other assets. The state bears responsibility for actively defending the critical networks that Californians rely on for services. Cybersecurity experts agree that one of the best steps to protect against cyber threats is to have a responsible plan in place prior to an incident that includes details such as common priorities, available resources, channels of communication, and the leadership structure that will be used. This will increase coordination and response, reduce recovery times and costs, and ultimately limit the damage that is done. In fact, OES does this type of incident response planning on other types of emergencies such as fires, earthquakes, or public health disasters. And that planning through emergency functions has protected our public safety and economy many times over by leveraging resources and guiding our response efforts. According to the Pell Center's report on state cybersecurity, 6 other states have already established incident response plans for cybersecurity incidents, while California's remains incomplete. But despite years of effort to create such a plan for cybersecurity purposes, our state has yet to do so. As cybersecurity incidences become more frequent and more sophisticated, we see that this issue is too important to be left unfinished and without accountability. AB 1841 addresses this important security issue that we have long recognized as a priority but have failed to act upon. Thank you, members, and I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you.
The bill has been moved and seconded. Any witnesses in support of the bill? Anyone in opposition to the bill? Questions, comments from committee members? Ms. Olson?
I've been dominating today, so you can go ahead.
I'm juggling 3 committees, so bear with me. I was just curious about why you decided to include in the bill the requirement to post on the website the cybersecurity plans.
To post on the website?
Yes, I believe it's required to post on the different department websites. And if you could explain that a little bit.
No, that's how the other emergencies functions are handled also.
They post their security plans on the website? It seems that would be problematic and open them up to security breaches if people know their security protocols.
I don't know the answer to this. Okay, it's the actual functions and not the details of the plan.
The functions in terms of who's responsible for what?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. Well, I know what an important topic this is to you, so I know that the intention is sound. I just was concerned about the details of putting our protocols out on the web. But okay, I'll look more closely at it. Thank you.
Mr. Will, thank you. Mr. Will?
Well, it does say strategy, so maybe that needs to be cleaned up. And then again, I know that you've been a leader on this. So if you go on OES's website, it says it's under development. If you talk to them privately, at least to me, they say that they have a plan in place. Have you not been satisfied with where they're at, or you don't think they're going to get it completed, or just kind of maybe share what the impetus for the bill was?
We actually had a hearing a few weeks ago, and they stated that it was a work in progress. So the plan is not complete yet. As a matter of fact, they have only completed 2 of the 5 steps that they need to take. It's been in progress for 2.5 to 3 years, so they're not where they need to be.
So you think they're going to listen to us and get it done if we pass this bill?
Well, okay, that's, yes, 6 months.
Yeah, I think one of the ways that we could enforce that is to do it by way of oversight hearing as well. And I think the website information is going to be kind of overall strategy, if not detailed information, obviously. So we'll be happy to work with you to do any cleanup if necessary. So in that regard. So.
And I do want to state, too, that we have removed all opposition, and we have a number of law enforcement agencies that are in favor of the bill.
Right. Thank you. So with that, would you like to close? I think we have a motion and also a second. One more question? Go ahead.
Again, I just want to be sure and I'm prepared to vote for the bill today, but just to make sure, because I'm looking at 8592.4, it says, on and before July 1st, 2018, the office shall develop a comprehensive cyber security strategy taking standards for the agencies. I'm all for transparency, but it seems strategies on the website, it's not the plan, but by the overall departments, just doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to take a look at that moving forward, correct? Okay? All right.
We absolutely do not want to do anything that moves us backwards in this area.
We're good then.
We will take a look at that.
So with that, would you like to close?
Ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to Governmental Organization Committee. Chow?
Aye.
Chow, aye. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Baker? Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. Chang? Aye. Chang, aye. Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye. DeBobne? Gatto? Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Lowe? Olson? Aye. Olson, aye.
Your bill is out. Congratulations. That brings us back to the child bills. So with that, let me give the gavel back over to my vice chair so that I could present the rest of my bills.